Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime. My name is Chloe Tonis, and this week we will be talking about CVE, the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. CVE is a program that tracks and names all vulnerabilities discovered. This allows people to easily look up vulnerabilities so they can understand how to address them, and gives software vendors an incentive to patch these vulnerabilities as quickly as possible. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, was about to let its contract with MITRE to manage the program expire on April 16, 2025, just last Wednesday. This news came very suddenly in the form of a leaked letter and caused quite a bit of panic, because without funding and a home with MITRE, the CVE program may not be able to last very long at all. It would be difficult to find another central home for CVE. MITRE is very much a trusted nonprofit supporting the US government in cybersecurity. And, well, even though MITRE may do federally funded research that supports the US government, CVE and MITRE's attack framework are recognized worldwide and are trusted as if it's some source of truth. And really, that's because it is. It has been for quite a while. Just hours after the news was announced officially, and very soon before the contract would expire, CISA quickly reversed course and opted to provide additional funding for MITRE to sponsor the CVE program for 11 more months. Some incremental funding was identified to keep the program operational. However, this extension does not mean that permanent funding is secured for CVE. The extension is temporary, after all. After those 11 months, we really don't know what's going to happen if a sustainable solution for funding isn't found. Though I'm sure it is just to buy time to look into solutions. One potential alternative I see is the European Union rolling out its own vulnerability tracking program. Last June, the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity developed and maintains an alternative known as EUVD, the European Union Vulnerability Database. It's a pretty new program. It's only been around for about a year, but the uncertainty around the future of CVE may push it into the new replacement, or even just a fallback. MITRE has been running CVE for 25 years now, and honestly, it's something I never quite thought I could see go away just like that after it started. The CVE program is just so unquestionably essential in the cybersecurity space. Heck, I mention CVE all the time on this podcast. It's just surprising that it could stop existing in the near future. These programs are not cheap to run. It costs millions of dollars to hire all these researchers continuously discovering vulnerabilities while updating the database, but it's just so essential. And I think that is something we as security professionals also need to rethink. If you think about it, in a way, relying on one singular database maintained by a government that can cut funding at any time is a weakness in itself. And I think that's why, although it's important to maintain CVE and keep it running, it's also really important that we look into any kind of alternatives. Whether that's just a different place for CVE to be run, a different way to get funding for it, or even just a different program altogether. Something needs to be done so that when this contract lapses, there won't be a huge panic about what the heck is going to happen with vulnerabilities. Without CVE, things would be a lot less secure in the cybersecurity world. A lot more zero-day vulnerabilities would remain undiscovered and continue to be exploited by very powerful hacking groups, ransomware groups, and nation-state threat actors. It would be more difficult to understand what systems or applications are vulnerable and why, and there would be a lot less accountability on getting those vulnerabilities patched. It could even affect the way we scan for vulnerabilities. If there's no number to link it back to, how do we know how to fix it? Or how do we know that exists, or that something's wrong to begin with? A new successor may rise, but it would take a long time for the security community to trust anyone else taking up the mantle as much as the CVE program is trusted. I don't see any benefits to ending the program at all, besides making funding available for other initiatives, but I really think the pros outweigh that by a large metric. The current administration in the US is keen to slash funding in so many areas of the US government, but truth be told, a lot of that funding is there for a very good reason. Many of these programs exist for a purpose that has a priceless benefit on society. The US government is not a for-profit business. It exists to serve its citizens. And that is what it should be doing with programs like CVE, which are critical in the IT space. I really hope a more permanent solution is figured out for the CVE program, or you may be hearing from me next year in March of 2026 on this very topic again. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, and thanks to InfoSecurity Magazine, Dark Reading, The Register, Reuters, and ARS Technica for information about this subject that gave me quite a lot of anxiety last week. My name is Chloe Tonis, and until next time, stay secure.